We're very excited to have you all here for this interesting topic. First, a couple of words about the sponsor. The Silverstein Lecture Series is a public outreach effort of the Center for Genetic Medicine, which is a unit in the Northwestern University Medical School whose goal is to help both better understand genetics and learn how to apply genetic issues to the better practice of medicine from the standpoint of improved therapies as well as improved diagnosis. But I think in order for the public to really be able to use the fruits of this effort with some understanding, it's important for us to do a good job helping the public understand important issues related to genetics. And in many ways, I can think of no more important issue related to genetics than the topic that's under discussion tonight. After all, in the mind of many of us, DNA, which is at the root of genetics, is in fact probably one of the best lines of evidence that supports the idea of evolution. The Silverstein Lecture Series are generously supported by an endowment that comes from the Herman M. and Bea L. Silverstein Foundation. And that endowment has provided this series in an ongoing way for the last 5 years and will continue to do so in the future. In the past, we've tackled such issues as genetic testing, the social and ethical implications of that. Last year, we had a very interesting series discussing the issues of genes and race, which is also another very interesting topic. Herman Silverstein, who is the person that provided us this opportunity, was an eminent attorney and the board chairman of the Mid-American Bank in Chicago, and also was president of Chicago's George F. Harding Museum. He and his wife, Bea, over the years have been very generous philanthropists across the city of Chicago. And any of you that have ever been in the Art Institute and seen this long hallway that has the extensive collection of armor, that actually was also a donation by the Silversteins. They also have made generous contributions to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. So we're really excited to have some really outstanding experts in the area of the discussion of how social and political concerns can impact science. And there's probably no better example of that today than the whole question of evolution. So those of you that were coming thinking you were going to see a debate between evolution and intelligent design, I think are going to be disappointed. Our design was never to have a debate, but rather to focus on this question from the perspective of what is science, and how is science and the perception of science influenced by a political and social environment. And evolution is probably the best example of that issue that I can think of right now. And so we have two, I think, of the world's experts in terms of thinking about that issue. Our agenda for this evening is we will hear two presentations from our two distinguished lecturers. And then we've tried to design the program so there's a fairly large chunk of time for question and answer sessions, because I don't know about you, but I find that I actually learn often as much from the questions and answers as I do from the lectures. So this is a topic that usually engenders a lot of questions. We're pretty confident there will be a few. So I'd hope you'll, as you think of things during the presentations, I hope you'll jot down your ideas and have those questions ready for us during the question and answer session. So our first speaker is Eugenie C. She's the executive director of the National Center for Science Education. And it's a pro-evolution, nonprofit science education organization that has members in every state. Scott is a nationally recognized proponent of the separation of church and state and serves on the national advisory councils for both Americans United for the Separation of Church and State as well as the American Civil Liberties Union. She's internationally recognized as an expert on this, has written a really outstanding book that you'll hear a little bit more about later, that any of you that want to read a little bit more about this can go look at, as has our second speaker, who I'll mention in a bit. And she really brings, I think, a useful perspective to this question. So I hope you will join me in welcoming Eugenie Scott to the podium.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chisholm. Well, good evening. It's nice to see such a large group of people here tonight. The weather's really nice out there. I mean, I come from coastal California. We've had nothing but 3 weeks of rain, and I tell you, if this was California and the weather was this nice, there wouldn't be anybody here. But I'm very, very pleased that you decided to come here. Now, why are you doing this? All right, this is my new computer, by the way, so interesting things may be happening here. Some of you may have noticed in the last few months some information about a school district